Hello, good morning. It is Thursday, January 12th. My new favorite day of the week is Thursday. This is the Plant Based Morning Show, presented as always by Compliment. We do this show every single day at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Instagram Live, YouTube Live, Twitch, a couple others. Facebook is disabled temporarily until I go in there and fix it. But we do this a lot. We do this all the time. Dale Stevens is here. Jody Shuck here. Aaron, my wife, my son, Holden, Mountain Football Kid. They're all here. Hopefully more. Oh, my mom, Drew Designs, frequent recent commenter. Doug's coming in. Here he is. Look at this. That is a manly man. Foreshadowing one of the topics of discussion today.
Oh, man. I just feel so manly right now.
A manly vegan man. I like it. Why? What's that about, Doug? Why are you?
I just power through a quick, intense 5-minute kettlebell workouts. Get me pumped up, ready to go for this show. Got blood flowing, my heart pumping. I'm ready.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I like that kind of effort put into the show. We need more of that, honestly. So good for you, and also just good for you in general. Doing a nice workout, 5 minutes here and there. That'll get you ripped. Yep. Actually, it probably won't, but it's something. It's better than nothing. Speaking, I was planning to ask about pull-ups, but people are beating me to it. Mr. Jeffrey wants to know how are pull-ups. Anne-Marie calls you pull-up guy. I had just thought about the other day. I was thinking I need to check in with Doug and find out about his pull-ups.
I don't know how I feel about.
This 5 pull-up thing is like your white whale. It's going to be the thing that goes on your tombstone.
I told you I ordered a door thing, but it doesn't fit within my door frame.
Okay, right.
And so I'm not using it. And what I need to do is buy like something that I would mount to a wall, but I don't really want to mount that inside my office. And I don't ever go to my garage. Like that would be a thing that I just don't do, So I'm feeling really stuck about what to how to proceed. I will say every time I run, I am still going to the outdoor pull-up bar, not the playground, the actual pull-up bar. So it's been a couple times a week I've been doing it, and I do 10 pull-ups, but I do them kind of where like I'll rest, and then I'll some of it's like jumping momentum pull-up kind of thing.
Okay.
So cheating. Oh yeah, I'm totally cheating.
Okay.
But but I'm still getting that strength, and I'm getting the down, and
and the negative. So, okay, good. Well, all right. Those are all valid excuses, Doug. But if it was easy
they are
to do
legit excuses.
Everybody would do it. So you just got to figure out a way to do it. You have to make a decision. You have to put the thing into your office, install it in there. I know you don't want it on your wall. It'll be permanent fixture. Yeah. But think if every single morning you did that, and every single day on the way out you did that. You would already be doing 10 pull-ups.
After 10 days?
No, not 10 days. After a year, when you set the goal last
year. Maybe I should just do it. I just I got a beautiful office, man. But maybe it'll make me feel more pumped up, more
Yeah.
Just by looking at it.
Add energy to everything. Yeah, perhaps. Well, you got to do something.
Matt does have such a smirk on his face as he talks about this. I know you judge me pretty hard that I can't do 5 pull-ups.
No, it's not that you can't do it. It's the pathetic effort you're putting forth in this thing that is a second or third year in a row of being your goal.
I know.
And there's no progress being made. Not even getting a bar to do it on.
I know. All right. I'm feeling pretty shamed right now, which is maybe a good thing. We were talking yesterday about whether shaming ever actually results in anything good. And
of course it does.
And yeah, I think it probably will right now. So let's see. Drew Design says he went to Home Depot and got a 2-inch piping with 2 elbows and mounting brackets. What do you mount it to? That's what I want to know.
Probably studs.
Studs, yeah. I mean, but I don't have any exposed studs except in my garage, and I don't really want to do that.
They have to be exposed. You drill into the wall and find them. You find them and get the nice lag bolt and put it in there. That's what I did. I hung a heavy bag this weekend too, from my ceiling for Holden's use mostly.
You held you hung a what?
In my little gym area in the garage, I hung a heavy bag, a 70-pound bag.
Is that a punching bag?
Yeah, like a one of those long, heavy ones.
Nice. That'll be fun.
So I'm just doing all kinds of work recently.
Well, you're adding a lot of gear. Are you actually doing it? Are you using your
Yeah.
new?
Yeah, I mean the bag's not for me; it's for Holden, really, to do soccer
Okay.
stuff, to have it leaning against him. Okay, so anyway, that's that. I'll check in again, Doug, maybe in a couple weeks. We'll see what
Okay.
you get.
Please do. This is good. This is good. Shaming can be helpful here.
Drew Designs also says he had a Bravas Oatmeal Dark yesterday. Still not as good as Guinness. I actually had an Oatmeal Dark Bravas yesterday as well. And yes, not as good as Guinness, but actually very good. I really like that beer. All the darks are good. The stout type non-alcoholic beers are pretty much
Bravas is
passable.
non-alcoholic?
Yes. 0.5% or less. So that's a good one.
Okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Also, the blonde ale that I am digging recently is called Partake Blonde. It's the 15-calorie one, and less than 5.5%, probably less than that, even if it's 15 calories. So that's another one I would recommend. Tastes like almost nothing, but it's just enough to kind of be good. Okay, and then Mr. Jeffrey says maybe you get a standalone bar, which I think he means I guess he means a pull-up bar. I thought maybe he was saying maybe you just say screw it and just build a little bar for yourself and start drinking. I really did think that at first.
I would kind of rather convert my garage into a bar than a pull-up workout area.
Well, but, that's not the different from what Aisha says here. It's a mindset, Doug. You either want the goal or you don't. I think maybe that's the problem. I think maybe you don't really want it. I think you have to do 5 pull-ups for some reason, and you don't really care about it.
That's a bold statement. I don't know.
I mean, how many actual pull-ups, even the cheating kind, have you done in the past 2 years since you set this goal? 100?
Oh, more than that, I'd say.
More. So you're actually trying. You are doing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, kind of. Like, right? I mean, obviously, I'm not buying the equipment, so I'm only halfway doing it. But, I mean, like I said, in the last 12 days, there were 12 days into the year. In the last 15 days, I did start before the new year. I have probably done at least 100 pull-ups.
Oh, good. Okay. Then you're doing things. Yeah. Good. Okay. You just got to make it. You need to get it at home.
I do. With a
goal like that,
because I need to be doing it a couple times a day.
Right. Exactly. That is key. Grease the groove.
Grease the groove. Matt, I made my world famous peanut sauce last night.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Which I hadn't made in a while. I've been kind of transitioning so I have a peanut sauce that I thought was part of the sauce system. I went and looked it up this morning because I was going to talk about it, like I am right now, on the show, and told people to go to the sauce system blog post on No Meat Athlete, and apparently it's not on there.
We even accused Veg News of stealing from that blog post, and it wasn't even published there, huh?
It wasn't even published on there. So that's right, we did.
We retract the accusation.
Yeah, but it's very simple. It's just it's peanut butter and soy sauce and a little bit of white rice vinegar, lime juice, and then water to thin it out. And if it needs a little, depending on the peanut butter, if it needs a little added sweetness, then you put some maple syrup in there, and just kind of whisk it up until it's the right consistency. And it is so good on everything. I mean, I could literally drink it or dip bread.
Or you heat it while you whisk it?
No, just whisk it up.
Nice.
With the warm water, and it just does fine. And it's just absolutely delicious. But you can we put it on top of stir fry mostly, or like sometimes we'll do soba noodles or something like that with it. Absolutely delicious. But I have been switching from that to basically that plus coconut milk, like a can of coconut milk.
Yeah.
Which I do heat in the pan. Put the coconut milk in, and then I put all those ingredients in there and just kind of mix it up, and it turns into a really creamy peanut sauce. And I had been doing that for, I don't know, the last 6 months or so.
Wow.
And
you can sprinkle a little curry powder in there and make a Massaman curry.
That sounds delicious.
We could have a whole system based on this idea.
Yeah, we could have a whole system. But
good. Well, good for you. Well, my dinner was quite remarkable yesterday. Erin, she spent literally the whole day in the kitchen making different things.
Oh,
and one of them is sourdough bread, which will not be finished till today. But she made we had beanball subs, which doesn't sound like a huge thing, but she made the beanballs that day. It's a recipe that she actually made up, and she put it in the revised edition of No Meat Athlete, not the cookbook, but just the first No Meat Athlete when that got reprinted, recovered, or whatever a few years ago. And I made the sauce for it, which was just a quick job. But she also made the rolls. She made the sub rolls fresh
Ooh.
from flour and yeast and
Wow,
things.
Aaron.
I know, and the
Stepping it
Caesar
up.
salad from Vegan for Everybody, America's Test Kitchen book that we love. So we just had all kinds of good homemade stuff yesterday. It was wonderful, and fairly healthy too.
Pop quiz. Where was Caesar salad invented?
I would have to say Rome by Julius Caesar.
You're wrong.
France.
Tijuana, Mexico.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Caesar salad was invented in the early 1920s by Cesar Cardini, an Italian chef who owned a restaurant in Tijuana, Mexico.
Somehow I feel like I've heard that before, and maybe from you. I don't really know.
I just recently learned that. I forget
then
where
no, I
I
didn't learn from you. Maybe I did. Maybe I've never heard it. Good, fun fact. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Steven said Vegas. That's not too far off.
No, not similar vibe. Maybe. Never been to either, so maybe
I
not.
think Vegas is a little. Well, I don't know. Vegas has its seedy parts, and I have to imagine
Tijuana has.
seedy parts.
I imagine Tijuana has some pretty seedy parts.
But
too.
Vegas on the Strip is a totally different vibe. It's a luxury, combined with degeneracy, but very very luxurious things going on.
Sure.
Anyway, I thought I had something else to get. Oh, I have just, since we're checking in on goals, I've continued my stuff, everyday activity. Done a pretty good job with doing things every day. I mean,
Awesome.
not pretty good. I've done things every day. It's always been weightlifting until yesterday when I didn't do any until soccer practice when I went for a run because I hadn't.
Nice.
So my calves were definitely screaming after that, having not run in quite a while. But that's moving along. I've honestly just forgotten about the no vegan meat thing. It didn't take long. I mean, I don't know. Just when we plan meals, I don't put sausage in, or whatever it is, the tofurkey sausage into sauces, but like it's really not non-factor, simple thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then damp January is coming along, and not as damp maybe as I had planned. I thought maybe I would have like no drinks ever in the week and just on the weekend, but I'm doing okay. I'm hanging in there.
Well, that's good. Since we talked about tempeh a couple of weeks ago, we've been on a tempeh kick. We've been kind of breaking that out more.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we always eat tempeh, but just I feel like we've upped our tempeh game here and choosing tempeh instead of other things.
I like it. Well, we are making the king oyster mushrooms tonight. Aaron is out this very minute getting propane so that we have our grill functional. Not really a grill, but the Uni pizza oven, and we bought the grill insert thing for it. So we will first time grilling with that thing. We'll see how that goes.
Well, I cannot wait to hear how that goes. Be sure to take photos and put them on the Instagram account.
Oh yeah, I'll try to do that. I bet Aaron will actually remember to do that, so that would be good.
Aaron, if you're listening, be sure to do that. Speaking of the Instagram account here, this is the Plant-Based Morning Show Instagram account. We are, let's see, as of this recording. Oh, we passed 1,000 subscribers. Yesterday we were like
when we were at 999. It was a few days ago though. So what are we at now?
1,002.
Okay.
I noticed yesterday we were like a couple away. So that's great. We just passed 1,000 followers. Let's see how quickly we can get up to 5,000.
Fantastic. Once we start cranking out these reels, now that we have some help doing it,
yeah,
might get there quickly. All right, that is enough of that small talk. I think let's jump into the weather report today.
The weather report.
Big news reported by Plant-Based News. Peter Andre signs up for Veganuary. Now, who is Peter Andre, you ask? I did too. He's the Mysterious Girl singer, 49 years old. Doesn't look like he's 49, so he's doing something right. He announced also that he has a partnership with Beyond Meat, posted to his 1.8 million followers, called on fans to replace animal mince with the company's vegan meat. We've talked about mince before, never really came to a conclusion what it is. I still don't know. But Peter Andre is saying make it vegan, whatever it is, and whoever he is.
Wait, what did you say? Who did you say he was? The Mysterious what singer?
the singer of Mysterious Girl.
Song
I do not know.
Okay.
I don't know anything about him. I'm just reporting this because they reported it and they acted like it's a big deal, so I'm assuming it is.
Okay.
Could have been a sponsored post like the Doug post yesterday that tricked me. I don't know.
Yeah, that tricked
Peter Andre paid for it. Plantopia is launching in San Diego April 1st, then New York City, Chicago, and LA. It's a celebration of all things plant-based. It's sort of like Veg Fest from what I can gather, which showcase the very best of plant-based living including exhibitors, vendors, speakers, plant-based athletes, DJs, workshops, food, fashion, everything you want plant-based is there. Here's the catch. I went to their website and checked it out. To get in, assuming you don't, it's almost like golf, where the afternoon twilight hours are cheaper. If you're not going during twilight, which is like the 4 to 7 p.m. slot, and you only get to go for a few hours, I think, it's between $55 and $69 to get into this exclusive event. So wow. Very, very different market they must be going after than VegFest, and I think it's good. I don't know how that will do, but I don't know. I feel like VegFest kind of missed the mark. Like they were good, they were cool. You get to see stuff, but I just don't know how much they made people actually want to eat this way. Who knows? So this will be interesting to see how this works and if this takes off.
Man, VegFest. I haven't been to one in a while, so I don't know how they're holding up these days. But it was not a way, in my mind, it wasn't a way to convince people to go plant-based. It was a way to like bring people together and empower them, excite them about the movement. That's right. How we met each other. I tracked you down at a VegFest.
That's right. In the parking lot. On the way out.
On the way out.
That's correct. Yeah, I mean they were good. They were good for that. They were cool. It was just, I don't know. It was a weird vibe. It was different. That was also 10 plus years ago, so that could have changed a lot by now. I mean, you have to imagine for $55+, this is also not going to get new people into the plant-based diet who are sort of reluctant, and now they just stumble upon this thing and see the light. But right. Maybe for the right crowd, this would be seen as sort of exclusive and special, and they'll want to go even if they're not plant-based, and this would inspire them to go the next step. So it's targeting a different person for sure. The twilight hours, by the way, I think you can get in for $19 if you go 4 to 7. It also this may like a food festival include free tastings and things like that. So maybe you're getting much more than a typical VegFest would give you. I'm actually not sure. Another one from Mr. Jeffrey here. Canada's Wamame Foods announces that they're launching their ultra premium Wagyu plant-based meat strips, which is like Wagyu. I don't know how to pronounce that, but that's that Japanese beef stuff that's all the rage. They're launching this in 7-Eleven Canada locations in these wraps, these ready-to-serve menu. Southwestern plant-based steak wrap sounds like something Doug would like. Mexican plant-based steak wrap sounds like something Doug would like even more. I don't know if I guess Canadians are just as into Mexican food as Doug is, and as Americans are, even though they're separated by a country. So anyway, according to they're saying this stuff has the same tenderness, flavor, and aroma as Japanese Wagyu beef with unprecedented texture and taste. That's hard for me to believe, considering it's in 7-Eleven ready-to-eat wraps. It just doesn't. I don't know. I think that Wagyu beef is ultra premium stuff. So who knows? But yes, Mr. Jeffrey, you do need to make a trip to 7-Eleven for sure, and report on this.
No kidding.
Join us live like Rachel did the other day and eat these things with us live.
7-Eleven is gunning for Burger King or something, maybe for to be the new like fast food or easy plant-based stop.
They're up in the game.
They are.
I mean, we could use one if we had that is a hole, right? There's no good road trip gas station stop where you're going to go find any good food right now as a vegan. No. So if that, I mean, I'd start going to 7-Eleven if I knew this was there. It would make my road trips even less healthy than they already are. I mean, it used to be that they were so inconvenient you had to pack food ahead of time and it would be healthy, but now it's not. But so that would do even more. Finally, during the 2023 Veganuary campaign, more than 80 brands, restaurants, and retailers from Spain, Mexico, South America are all participating with discounts on all kinds of offerings. This includes Spain, Chile, Mexico, Argentina, Colombia, Ecuador, and I assume more. The bullet list just stopped there because I was not a paid member of Veg Economist. So I assume there are even more countries involved, but that's the extent to which I was willing to gather information for this show. So that is that. Mr. Jeffrey says that we need a sound for the weather report, and I think that is correct. I looked yesterday on my Sound Machine website, which is not much of a website. It was just I Googled it and it was free, and I think it's like users upload stuff, so you never know what you're going to get. I couldn't find any good weather sounds. There wasn't even in the appropriate category. Like it was just people saying the weather report and stuff. It was just weird.
What about like a lightning bolt or like thunder?
Right. I
the
consider
weather
that.
Report.
That would be good. You could just record your own, and
maybe I should.
We play that all the time.
All right.
Good. The other thing, I could also get like storm sounds and sort of have that like in the background, like as if I'm hanging onto a post or something and trying to not get blown away by the hurricane, just have it running continuously behind. I do that every day. Yeah. Oh, it's a rough one out here. So that's your weather report. Anyway, interesting news day. I mean, not a whole lot of new stuff today in the weather report or in the regular news, but there are some interesting articles that are not news, but they're just sort of interesting features. The first one we've talked a little bit about before because in the past, 2 days ago, we were talking about men versus women percentages of vegans, and then yesterday you reported that it was something like, I think you said, did you say 25% men, 75% women? Is that right? Or 20-80,
yep.
something like that?
It was somewhere between 75 and 80% women. Yep.
Yeah. Well, you found this this BBC article. You dug it up from 2020, and actually pre-COVID era. This was written February 14th. So this person didn't even know what was about to hit them when they wrote this article. But it's about the mystery of why there are more women vegans. Mystery is weird. They also called it the vegan paradox or something. I was like, I don't really see the paradox because it sort of sounds intuitive to me, right? Like if I had to guess, are there going to be more women or men vegans, knowing nothing about this planet, I would say probably more women being vegans. I guess I'd have to know something about the planet. I'd have to know about the species a little bit and what vegan meant. But I'd say, yeah, women, it sounds like more of something women would be into than men, just because of the whole manliness thing, and men like, hunting and eating animals and seeming not to care. I think men like that. They don't care. And they're just a bad boy. And they're just going to eat the animals. So it's not totally counterintuitive. They do put forth a bunch of interesting theories as to why it might be. I guess a lot of it comes down to compassion and some stuff about, just general ways of behaving in the face of multiple ideas. And what do you do? Do you consider them more? Or do you more just kind of pick one and go with it? I don't know. So what is your take from this lengthy article?
There were a couple things. I made some bullet points here, so I can run through some of their points. One was precautious masculinity, the idea that men are constantly worrying that they'll lose their manly status and therefore feel the need to prove it at every opportunity. For example, when men are forced to do something quote unquote girly, like braiding a doll's hair, they tend to want to exhibit their machismo afterwards.
Okay.
So I guess that was a study. It links to a study. So I guess
this is why whenever men like hug each other, they also slap on the back, so they don't be seen just as hugging; they're also hitting. My pet theory.
That's probably true, right? I mean,
yeah,
maybe. So I thought I don't know. I kind of. So what's interesting is I run through all these. I'll go through all the bullet points.
Well, first of all, Doug, are you constantly worried about losing your masculinity? Is that something just like is constantly front of mind? Like, cannot lose my masculinity here?
No.
Right.
Hard no. Which is what I was going to say.
I guess that maybe it's extremely insecure people might have that worry, but they seem like they're just assuming that's true. But I don't know anybody who's constantly worried about that.
Well, I think it's probably subconsciously worried about it, right?
Right. Okay.
And they do link to a study here, so there's been some research on this. But I mean, my guess is that we maybe are a little different breed of men than some people. But I wondered also if this is a generational thing, like if younger men are less concerned about this stuff than maybe our fathers were, or certain, maybe geographical as well. It's interesting thing that for me is not. I don't see that, but at the same time, like sometimes I feel manly and that's cool. Like I want to like beat my chest and like do stuff. Not very often, but sometimes.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's different. That's different from being afraid, right? I mean, I don't know. You can move on. No reason to get hung up there.
I love braiding my daughter's doll's hair and their hair, and I feel no.
Right. No, I think you feel usually. I think this is the same reason some men like to wear pink. They like to just sort of show that they're totally comfortable with it. It's fun to like do a daughter thing. It's totally
totally.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. The second bullet point was meat has always been associated with danger because you used to have to hunt to get it. The status. And so the hypothesis is here that men are attracted to danger and adrenaline, and so there's some sort of thing going on in your head that meat triggers that danger association.
So perhaps all the research that comes out about how dangerous meat is for you just feeds into this idea that like I'm still gonna just like live on the edge. I like to live dangerously. I'm gonna eat meat, get high cholesterol, and increase cancer risk. I don't even care. But I mean, I think some people have that attitude.
Yeah.
So maybe it's no different.
There was I didn't make a bullet point about this, but they also talked about advertising. You know, McDonald's had a 100% manly burger, 100% meat, 100% manly or something. And so like advertising has kind of reinforced a lot of these ideas. They referenced soy boys. Have you ever heard that term?
I've heard of soy boys before, just sort of in like a political context.
Yeah, Urban Dictionary defines it as males who completely and utterly all necessary masculine qualities. I don't know what that means, but I guess
like metrosexuals, I think, is the term I used to know it as. But that was more of a fashion, the way you appeared. I don't know.
Yeah,
I hear a lot. I hear the liberals often being lumped in with soy boys.
You know, I mean, this is definitely still a thing, right? I mean, you hear. I can think of our former congressman here in Western North Carolina, Madison Cawthorn. He went out with a bang, but also went out kind of. His final speech on the House floor was all about how America has lost the masculine trait, and you know we're teaching boys to be weak and all this crazy stuff, and you know, I mean, I think that people still feel that way.
That in itself isn't crazy. I mean, I think in some way I see that happening.
Well, we don't need to get into that, but but what I'm trying to say is that people are still pushing a narrative of what a boy or a man should be, and and I think meat is certainly associated with that.
Yeah, I'm with you. Good.
Okay. So a couple more things, a couple more bullet points here. Avoidance versus denial. This was kind of comparing how women treat problems or things that they don't like versus men. And there were some studies linked to this too, where how women want to avoid something, and so they I think the idea, I'm paraphrasing here, was that they will try to come up with ways to remove that from their life, whereas men will just deny it exists.
Okay.
And then I
think I do that sometimes.
Sure.
Not with animals, but with problems.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I do. And then the social dominance theory, which suggests that men might find meat more appealing when they're reminded it's made from animals, because it reinforces their sense of dominance and superiority. So top of the food chain concept.
Yeah, I think people. I believe that one. I think people do that. Men do that.
Mr. Jeffrey hates everything about this conversation.
Yeah, I kind of do. It's
yeah.
It's just too much. I don't know. Too much other stuff going on besides the vegan thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, we got here to this by we had a list of celebrities, and none of them were men or vegan celebrities. Of course, it was from Women's Health, so that explained it, which we realized later. But they do mention here, they actually cite that exact thing. I'm trying to find it now. That they said, talking about some female vegan celebrities. And then meanwhile, the cast of male celebrity vegans appears tiny in comparison, though it does feature Benedict Cumberbatch and Peter Dinklage, which to me go in the same category as, what's his name? Peter Andre, people I've never heard of and have no idea who those people are. They mentioned Zac Efron, who is no longer vegan, but it's kind of the point, right? There really are not a lot of big name vegan celebrities who are at least endorsing it publicly and making it part of their brand.
Which I think is partly why Game Changer was so powerful among men, is it kind of redefined veganism as this way to get stronger and be healthier, like for, you know, I don't know, you know, kind of it played into the quote unquote manly persona, I think, in many ways. Of course, they were putting women in there too, but you know, linking it to sports.
They weren't that many. I think maybe they added some at the end. I think there were not. One of the criticisms I heard in the early going was that they didn't have enough. But who knows?
The comments want us to move on.
Okay, I'm all for that.
Yeah, I am too. I'm mega uncomfortable right now, so let's move on.
Alrighty. I have one more thing I was going to mention. I forget what it was here. I thought it was a comment. I think maybe Mr. Jeffrey couldn't believe that I didn't know who those celebrities are, but that wouldn't be the first time that I didn't know celebrities who other people know. Okay, moving on. So this is this is not that different from the masculinity thing. The all meat diet certainly been embraced by plenty of men,
yes.
but I think plenty of women have gotten on board with this as well. We saw the Liver King, who I never actually saw any stuff from. I didn't never see his content, but you've told me about him and how he sort of was on steroids or something. It leaked. So this is from Healthline, a site that certainly does put up its share of meat articles. Like they're not like a vegan site or anything like that. I think they try to just be an unbiased health site, and they do a good enough job at that. So this is why health experts have beef with the all meat carnivore diet. So they explain what it is. It's basically one that eschews all animal products. Common foods in the carnivore diet menu include beef, fish, poultry, eggs, bone broth, and animal fats like bone marrow and lard. And what's not on the diet are things. It excludes all other foods like fruits, vegetables, grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds. Most of
I was just one comment. A lot of the carnivore people I have seen do eat bananas and some fruit.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
But
that's good to know, because that's I was gonna. I mean, the big thing for me is like this. This sort of sounds like I haven't heard the reasons why people do this. They were just sort of citing potential health benefits, and that this for people was like an extension. Like, well, if low carb is good, then no carb must be better. They think people are thinking in that way, that it's kind of an extension of keto. And I could certainly see it evolving in that way, right? Someone gets into keto, they do some stuff, they realize it's working for them, at least in the short term. And then they say, well, I'm just going to extend, I can do even better than I'm doing. And I can not have that little bit of carbohydrate I was having. So that to me, like, it's not based on anything that I know that the paleo at least has going for it, that it's trying to mimic evolution. It's doing it in a wrong way, which is, the marketing has made it something that people didn't eat that way. And it's not really possible to eat the way people ate for the period they're trying to replicate. This, I don't think anyone ever ate this way. I mean, maybe certain populations, like the Inuit population, they weren't called that then. And I don't know what I don't know if they're called Eskimos then, or if what they're thought. When you refer to Alaskan people from the long ago, I don't know what you refer to that as now. But then I think they ate like 100% fish. That was what those diets were based on. And they had terrible longevity, I believe, as a result. So I don't think anyone has successfully eaten all meat, any population, for a long time. It's just the remarkable thing about humans is that we really can thrive on a lot of diets, based on what's in season and what you can have. So like, surely you can make it for a little while like this, but I just can't imagine that this is the way most people are going to survive and thrive very well. So the bananas thing is interesting. I kind of thought there was like a philosophical line drawn. We will not have anything but meat. So why, you don't know why they include the bananas?
I do not. I assumed that it was, I don't know. I have no idea. Q Burgess 1 says carnivores eating some fruit, etc., is a new phenomenon in that community. So maybe there's been some sort of change there.
Interesting. I would love to know what that is. Because I always hear that same crowd is the one that says the sugar in fruit is terrible and the modern fruit is, candy compared to what fruit's supposed to be. So that is interesting to me. Anyway, let's ignore the bananas for now. So this article goes on and they just talk about benefits and risk. There's one study that was done on this all carnivore diet, came out in late 2021, included 2,000 or so adults who ate the diet. 93% were motivated to try the diet for health reasons. In this incredibly designed study, they only asked the people to self-report their health outcomes. So people reported optimal HDL cholesterol and triglyceride levels, lower BMI, and glycated hemoglobin. I don't know how you didn't self-report that, because I don't know how you would. I guess you'd have to measure it. Reduction in the use of diabetic medications in patients with diabetes. No surprise there. Anyone can stop taking medicine if they think their diet's working. High levels of satisfaction and improvements in overall health. So that's they do mention that the study's design, they have some concerns with the study's design and would not recommend starting an all meat diet based on its indications. So, I mean, I don't know. Basically, the article goes on. They have this nutritionist involved, and they just keep saying, this is not good. You can't eat this way. It's missing so many important healthy things. So basically, don't do it. I mean, I don't know. I don't doubt that people who start eating this way experience health benefits in the short term, or they feel better in the short term. Because to me, when you've eaten any way for a long time and then you start eating the opposite way, like, yes, you're going to have some adverse reactions because your body's not used to it. But if there are any kind of nutrient gaps that you've developed in that time and you start eating a polar opposite way, you're going to quickly fill those gaps and your body's going to feel great for a little while until enough time occurs. And then the bad parts of this diet start to take effect. So I'm not at all surprised that people would feel this short-term improvement. And also, like, there's this thing about, like, you can improve fecundity, which is like fertility and sort of short-term attractiveness, ability to reproduce and attract a mate. Like, you can do that with a paleo diet. It makes you more muscular and stronger and energetic and all this stuff, but it's not linked to longevity. And unfortunately, like, evolution didn't reward longevity. It just rewarded fecundity and still kind of does. So, like, no surprise then that we could get good outcomes in the short term, but that has nothing to do really with outcomes in the long term. So that's the big flaw here with these kinds of things.
Healthline covers a lot of diets, and this is the first one that I've seen them cover in a truly negative way. Because I may be wrong about that. There may be others, but they're really telling you not to do this, and that's pretty rare.
Yeah, right. And I mean, of course, right? Like, the oldest health advice in the book is eat more vegetables. And this is saying don't do it. Don't eat any. That they're not part of this healthy diet. So, yeah. Q Burgess 1, who I have not seen before except for today, having chimed in, which I like. I appreciate it. Says, we can survive on any diet, but what is optimal? And to me, we don't know until we look at long-term health outcome studies. And that's where a plant-based diet with proper supplementation seems like the best one. Mediterranean, certainly right there with it. Blue Zone stuff, right? Like, this is the best we've done so far. That people, Dr. Furman, who's argue we can do much better than what we've seen so far with long-lived populations. But that remains kind of unknown to me. So yeah, I mean, I don't care at all about these pet theories and stories about, like, how this thing is going to match with the way we're supposed to do, or how this thing's going to make this mechanism do this. And in theory, this will be great, or that beans have phytates, so that's going to be bad. Like, you just got to zoom out and see what diet is making people live a long time healthily. And that to me, I don't see a better choice than plant-based, or one very much like it, longevity diet, where they eat fish twice a week or something like that, along with a plant-based diet. I don't know. That's the best I've got so far.
Yep.
Okay.
With you.
Final word. All right, good. All
Word.
right. And the last one for today. We just mentioned the Mediterranean diet. I've been kind of beating that drum a little bit this year. I think this is, I'm kind of combining this with flexitarian, because Mediterranean really is just a special case of flexitarian, where you're choosing, the Mediterranean style foods, but you can also be a flexitarian in other ways too. I think that is the diet I just already see it happening. I see people being into these ideas around now. And it's nice. It's nice because it's middle of the road with all this polarizing stuff everywhere, like the all meat diet or even the plant-based diet. Something in the middle, to me, is a welcome change, just in the conversation. So I'm glad to see this, even though it's not 100% vegan. This diet, though, is how to eat this way on a budget. And I think, these trying economic times, people are concerned about budget for sure. We had John, who's giving me this lettuce recommendation that's helping me sleep better. Lettuce, I'm actually doing lettuce water. Tonight, my lettuce extract arrived, so that will be interesting to see how that goes. But it's working well so far. Anyway, he said the inflation and the cost of this romaine lettuce and the size of it compared to what it's been before, the amount of lettuce you're getting per dollar is so bad that he can't even do this anymore, this thing that was helping him sleep well. So people are feeling this. So this is good. I like these budget articles for that reasons. So here are their tips. This is U.S. News, by the way, who named Mediterranean diet their best overall diet of the year. So they're on board with it. Some quick ones here. We'll run down the bullets and we'll just comment briefly on each one. I don't want to get into all the details. First, they say build meals around whole grains. Very opposite idea from the all meat diet,
the carnivore diet. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you build them around whole grains. Whole grains generally are very cheap, and that is true, especially if you can buy them in bulk. But even if you can't, I mean, there's still the amount that it may not look like a lot that you're getting in that package, but the amount of food that it turns into once you cook it and hydrate it, a lot. Great value in whole grains. They say pasta's the flagship of Mediterranean, but get to know the other ones: farro, bulgur, wheat berries, frike. I've never had frike. I've seen it a lot of times. I don't even know how to say it.
I don't. What does it look like?
I don't know. Probably
Spelt
a brown
and millet?
seed like all the other ones. Spelt and millet. Yep. So yeah, I mean, those are good, and I do think pasta is the good thing about those other whole grains is that they're usually still in whole grain form, and that is significant. Like grinding something into flour to make pasta out of definitely is a form of processing. So even when you take whole wheat and process it into pasta, it's not the same as eating like whole bulgur wheat or something like that.
Right.
So this is a good thing. I need to do more of this. I don't really tend to venture that far with the grains. We do farro now and then. But I could definitely stand to do better. And they mention a great idea. I think later on with the beans, they mention, no, actually in this section, they say take a box of pasta, a can of beans, and some leftover leafy greens or canned tomatoes, and a balanced Mediterranean meal is only about 15 minutes away. That is speaking my language.
Sounds familiar, Matt.
It sounds a lot like grain, green, and a bean, just not in so many words. Which 10 years later, I'm convinced that phrase is not going to make me rich or anything like that. So I'm gonna let it go. And it's not even caught on that.
It's just because you haven't written. It's just because you haven't written the Grain, Green, and Bean book yet.
Hey, you're right. That's
a
good idea.
Then that could be a diet on the U.S. News top best diets.
It'd be good. I mean, I think it'd be a great diet. Anyway, they say with a box of pasta you can do that, and I've done that with a box of pasta, but I don't always feel like that's the healthiest meal. If I did it with a bag of farro or even brown rice, I would feel like that was a pretty good meal.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of just take a can of beans, add some sort of vegetable or tomatoes, and you get something good.
Yep.
Justin David Carl is there. Yeehaw, he says. Typical greeting. How's it going, Justin? JDC, the dragon. Like to see it. All right, moving on here. Embrace budget-friendly beans. And they're basically talking about beans as a swap of for meat, because meat is so expensive by comparison. And so beans are a great choice. I probably don't need to tell many people to eat beans here. We eat them all the time. It's hard to be 100% plant-based without eating a lot of beans. People do it, but it's just not that easy. So, just eat more beans. They're cheap. Really quickly, Plant-Based Lucy says, "Who coined that phrase, grain, green, bean? Do I need to dig out the archives and go back to the No Meat Athlete blog post from 2000?"
Matt claims that he claimed it, or that he coined it.
I don't think
whether that's true or not. That has not been third-party verified.
Validated. No, it has not. But we probably could validate that with the internet.
Back at the internet is a magical thing. That's true.
Yeah. And Trader Joe's tried to take it for a while. They put it on something, but I said it first.
They say add lentils to bolognese sauce, fill a wrap with hummus and cut vegetables, make 3-bean chili. Mix chickpeas into your pasta. So just, your typical, here we go. Black beans to replace ground beef on burgers or tacos. Now we're talking.
Now we are talking. Good. All right. Then they say try canned fish over regular seafood. They mentioned to eat the Mediterranean diet features fish and seafood at least twice a week. The longevity diet, just as a little bit of counterpoint here, who also recommends fish, they talk about eating it at most 3 times a week. So they're saying don't eat too much. This is sounding like make sure you get it that much. So the point is you don't want to have too much if you're someone who's into that. So, I don't know about comparing canned versus regular, but whatever. So chop your own leafy greens. This is a great tip, one that I've also been saying for a long time. You buy the heads of lettuce and chop them up. Way, way cheaper than getting the box, the clamshell sort of box. And then that stuff just goes bad quickly too. So if you can chop it up and then put it in your fridge, it tends to last a lot longer. Some people like to soak. I think they can soak it in water, let it sit in water for a while. Carly from Plant U has some good, rehydrating tips of things like that that are very good. A lot of that wilting of vegetables is really just a dehydration issue. So chop your own stuff. Stock up on frozen vegetables. This is something that I never do and probably should. We really don't. I just ignore frozen vegetables, but I hear all the time that they're healthy because they're flash frozen and they can be picked right at the point of ripeness and then frozen rather than picked way ahead of time. not being able to ripen in the ground or on the vine or whatever. So this is a good one. I don't. Do you guys do much frozen vegetables?
We do a lot of frozen peas. My kids will just down frozen
Oh, yeah?
peas. Yeah. And
Okay.
and so we do, I mean, almost with every dinner, just about. Sometimes we'll combine it with beans because they like a little bean salad.
hmm
But yeah, that's a staple in our house. But outside of that, no. I mean, we never get like frozen green beans or frozen. I don't even know what frozen
Yeah,
frozen
frozen
broccoli. Like we
broccoli.
don't ever do that.
Right. We've done a little bit of frozen green beans. I don't know. You can always tell that it's not fresh. You always can.
It
And so it's
didn't cook the same way.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not gonna get. You're not gonna get good. Really, I mean, maybe you will. Maybe I just haven't done it enough. Uh, so I should do more of this. It probably would save a lot of money because certainly vegetables are one of the more expensive. The fresh vegetables are one
Yeah.
of the more expensive things you buy. So maybe I'm gonna check this out. Perhaps. All right, buy whole
All right. So a
poultry.
lot of people are saying they eat a lot of frozen green beans or frozen broccoli,
Uh huh.
frozen cauliflower.
We do frozen cauliflower. That's one that we've
So what do you?
often
But
have.
like, do you put that in a stir fry, just frozen? You just throw it in your pan? Is that how people cook it? Like, how do you cook frozen broccoli? Make it
I
not
think
taste.
I think that does work totally fine. I would tend to defrost in the fridge or fridge in the microwave for a minute, and then try to use it. But then it comes out
Okay.
overcooked, of course. So I don't know.
Soups and
Burgess, yeah,
stews.
put it right in.
Kate0338 says soups and stews. That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like frozen, if you get just like a frozen huge bag of kale or collards or something, obviously you can get those
Mm-hmm.
frozen spinach blocks. Uh, that would be great because there's a ton of bulk in having that stuff on hand. It takes up your whole fridge, and it's not that cheap. So, all right, I like this. I'm gonna give this a look next time we.
Yeah,
next
maybe
time we
me
check.
too. A lot of people are saying just throw it right in the pan. So
Good. Okay.
let's give it a go.
All right. Buy whole poultry. I don't know about that one. I am kind of curious about what's the reason? Oh, it just costs 50% less per pound if you buy a whole chicken rather than pieces. Okay. Wasn't there some guy who was eating like a whole chicken every day for like 40 days? Do you remember that little meme that was happening?
Oh yeah. I do remember
And it was
that.
this news, and I heard people talking about it. Like it was on news shows and stuff. And then I heard other people talking about it and be like, what is the big deal? Like it's not like you ate an all meat diet for 40 days. You just had a whole chicken. It's like I don't know. I just don't get it. It does not seem like a I don't know special thing to me. But whatever. Add nuts to your meals. This is an interesting budget tip because I don't consider nuts to be cheap food at all. Peanuts, sure, but they're not really nuts. Certainly can still be a healthy food, but don't have some of the benefits that other nuts do. They say Mediterranean nuts, almonds, walnuts, pine nuts. Pine nuts super expensive. Pistachios also expensive. Cashews and hazelnuts are commonly used in salads, grain-based dishes. Yeah, they say just make sure to store them correctly. They mentioned that nuts are not always cheaper. I don't know if they're ever cheaper. I mean, then what?
Yeah. Yeah, this is not a good budget tip. I mean, it's a good Mediterranean diet tip and a good health tip, but not a good budget tip.
Yeah.
Make your own dressings. Next one.
That's a good tip.
Yep, I like that one. Both for health reasons. You can cut out some oil. We have a great blog post of, I don't know, 7 different oil-free dressings on No Meat Athlete. If you just did oil-free dressing No Meat Athlete in the Google, it would come up, and it's great. So I think that definitely saves you money and supports better health.
Yeah. I still just use oil and vinegar. That's kind of my favorite thing. A little pinch of salt. Yeah. But when you do get a good dressing, especially one that has some Dijon mustard, they talk about honey. You could of course use sugar. I don't know. Every now and then I'll make a little vinaigrette type thing, and it's always good. But just oil and vinegar, you don't even need to make it or store it.
Yep. All right. What about this one? The next one. Start a countertop herb garden. I will say, all right. So we have a garden, an outside garden, which we run all summer. We have lots of herbs growing in there. I love it. All about growing your own herbs. I have never, ever been successful in countertop herb garden without like a whole setup that I'm sure people will buy. Have you?
Not countertop. We've definitely like had herbs outside, like rosemary constantly growing.
Yeah.
Basil. I mean, you can have, and there it's basically a countertop. It's just outside the front door, just in a little not like a garden. We've done that. We have an arrow garden in the garage, and that has been very successful. We've had
Okay.
basil up until now, basically, from that thing. And I don't
Okay.
really know what it is or how it works. It's just there's a light always on in our garage, and I assume somebody's putting water into that thing. I don't know because they keep making basil. It has never actually occurred to me before that someone would be putting water in that.
Oh, Aaron. Bless your heart.
Here's a better tip. Don't use fresh herbs almost ever. They're great if you have them. If you have an herb garden like that, if you're lucky enough to have someone who will keep your aero garden stocked with water, then go for it. But just don't buy fresh oregano when the recipe says you need fresh oregano. Just get dried and use 1/3 as much because it's smaller, or I guess it's smaller in volume. And just don't save the $2.50 that you're going to spend on a little pack of herbs, and you're going to waste half of them anyway. And you can buy like a year's worth of the herb that you want for that same price. So just do that. That's a big one. Repurposed leftovers. Let's hear here. Rachel, who hopped on with us the other day, says my mom got me a self-watering garden for my birthday, and it's awesome living in an apartment on the 10th floor. There you go, self-watering. Maybe there is nobody watering my air garden. Maybe the AI is doing it.
maybe.
I don't know what that is. I guess you probably would fill something up, a tank up.
And it just
like the way you would
drips
feed a
out
gerbil
slowly.
water. Yeah, you fill it up and it comes and gets it as needed. Okay, good. Very nice. Rachel goes to where? Nebraska or something like that? 10th floor apartment. It's like a skyscraper. It's like a high rise. I don't know. I figured she was just out in rural America going to college. Okay. Repurpose leftovers. Yeah, obviously you have to repurpose leftovers. It also saves you a ton of time. Just make double the food and then use. I mean, this isn't repurposing. This is just make enough for leftovers. Oh, Northwestern is in Boston, right? That's what it was. Northwestern is not in the Northwest. Northwestern's in Chicago, isn't it? I'm confused. I'll get back to the leftovers here. So anyway, yeah, leftovers are good. I'm a big fan of the when you're gonna make soup or stew, just make double or 4x and then freeze the rest. It's not really a money saver, but a time saver. And it is a money saver because those nights when you would want to do DoorDash or something, if you just realize you have a really good stew in the freezer, that saves you a ton of money, way more than fresh herbs does, or whatever, not using fresh herbs.
Yep.
All right, Rachel goes to Northeastern, and that is in Boston. I think Northwestern is in Chicago, also not in Nebraska. So I was wrong about that. And Rachel does not do potatoes. She told us all that. She does not eat potatoes, just lettuce, tomatoes, and herbs. Yeah, I can't imagine the tomatoes would do too well in the countertop garden.
No.
And finally, not a health tip or not a money-saving tip. Nourish your mind, body, and soul. Included unnecessarily in here, as if somebody wanted to write a conclusion to this article but didn't want to write a real conclusion. So they put one more tip that had nothing to do with the topic. And then it ends, listen to this. Part of the good health enjoyed by people who live in countries surrounding the Mediterranean Sea is attributed to the priority they put on slowing down and enjoying meals with families and friends. And then for the big wrap-up sentence, you can't put on price on that payback.
You can't put on price on that payback.
And that's where they leave us with that.
That's where they leave us. Good old U.S. news.
It's easy to make typos. We all do it. People don't make fun of ours. I shouldn't make fun of others.
Yeah, I do it all the time.
But you gotta proofread the last sentence and the headline and the first sentence. That's it.
Yeah.
Everything else is acceptable. Okay. All right. Good. Well, that is our show. We are done. Except for a bit of awkwardness around the men-women article. I think it was a good show.
I agree with that. Yep.
And it's Thursday, which means tomorrow's Friday. That means tonight, kind of prime time weekend, best candidate for best time of the week is Thursday night. You're heading into Friday. Friday's sort of a free day. Heading into a 3-day weekend. You could argue with me and say Friday lunchtime is a better moment of the week than Thursday night, but I'll push back.
Used to be until our team call got moved till Friday,
right?
4:00 on Friday.
That got pushed back. Yep. Extended the workday a little bit.
Yeah. All right. I need some weather sun dancing happening I really want to go on a mountain bike ride this afternoon, but it's supposed to rain. So I need everybody to send some good mojo here.
It literally just brightened up in my room as you said that. So I'm sorry.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
Hey, Whole Health Experience says that the second Friday, she said this earlier, the second Friday of January is when the vast majority of people either quit, or maybe it's the highest quit day of resolutions. Or maybe it's just by that point most have quit. I'm not sure, but you always hear different stats around this. But tomorrow, I guess, is a big one. So be on the lookout, Doug. Figure out that pull-up situation before tomorrow, because if tomorrow hits and you haven't gotten it, you're in big danger of being done.
Okay, that's good to know. We should talk about some habits tomorrow, maybe, or something.
Yeah, that'd be good. Hopefully we will.
I think a recurring segment here is we should start guessing how much sleep you got last night based on the episode.
I love that.
So I'd love everyone to chime in here. Do you think Matt got a good night's sleep, a mediocre night's sleep, or a bad night's sleep? I'll give you 5 seconds before I chime in. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess mediocre. I'm gonna say you went to bed late again and still woke up, but maybe not as bad as some of your terrible nights.
Okay. All right, Mr. Jeffrey says mediocre. Just so anyone knows, you're not going out on a limb here by saying average, right? That's it's average because it's common. 7 out of 10. Everybody's putting averages. They're being safe. No one's
that's a good. That's a better. Steven has a better idea here. We should rate it out of 10. That's a better idea. I'm gonna give it a 5.5 out of 10.
Okay. These aren't hours. These are just out of a perfect sleep.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Where are we?
I think 7 out of 10 is pretty spot on to what it was.
Okay.
And I'd call that medium too. So good job, everybody. That's very good. I had the same issue. I tried to turn off the screens a little earlier last night. I still tossed and turned for a long time. Then Aaron woke up in the bed saying, "Are there any cats in this bed? Get the cats out of the bed." And I was just falling asleep, and she woke up screaming about cats. And then I was up for a while again. So, but then it was pretty solid. Had a little 40-minute wake up. I've been trying to sleep mostly out of the pod cocoon thing with my arms out at least, and then saving it for the comfort of when I wake up. Then I go in, and that actually was very effective yesterday.
Okay, well, that's good.
Is it more of a mood thing that tips people off, or is it just a positive, negative attitude towards articles and things?
I don't know. So, I mean, we're learning together, Matt. I think we're learning together. It was just such a stark contrast the other day when you had that great night of sleep and how bright and cheery and joyful you were.
I think that was a Monday too, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe Tuesday. So, so I think just positive energy, that you got going with the articles, and also maybe some energy that you're share us. So, yeah. I think that's what we go. Yeah.
All right. Well, that motivates me to do even better. I'd really like to keep having these good sleeps, and now I've got a lot more reasons to do
it. Whole Health Experience says you struggled through the masculinity convo like a champ. So good job.
I don't know what's so bad with that. It's not like we had a major disagreement or argument on here, or that we said something that offended the whole audience. I mean, I don't think. It's just, you just gotta tiptoe now around stuff and make sure. My thing is, I don't know enough. I'm so ignorant about all of these things because I don't pay attention to the news or anything, that I'm worried that I'm going to have some viewpoint that's like 20 years outdated, and I'm going to say it. And I don't have a specific viewpoint in mind here. I just, as soon as we go into these topics that I know become hot buttons, I just get scared to say anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's I think both of us are mindful, not to say.
Our audience is definitely, hypersensitive to these things, and I'm not saying too sensitive. I'm just saying, the type of people who really do care about these kind of issues. So that's why I'm always just don't know what to say.
Yeah. And it's just it's one of those things where it'd probably be better if we actually didn't tiptoe as much.
Right, just take a stance and say it.
Yeah, just take a stance.
The thing is, I don't have strong viewpoints around these things. If I did, then I would say so. Anyway, whatever. Fun times.
All
right. Good.
All right, everybody. Have a good day.
We will be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern, and then off for 3-day weekend. So make sure you show up tomorrow. Get your fix before we're gone for 3 days.
That's right. See you later.
Goodbye.